Knesset member Amit Halevi.
Yes, Ishai, hi.
Thank you so much for joining me. I see that you are not at the Knesset right now.
Yes, indeed. And I don't think this is the right time for celebrations. Unfortunately, this is not the way that war should, this war that started with a horrible massacre it shouldn't be ended that way. I'm sure you agree with me after this 1,200s of people that have been massacred and more than almost 1,200 of soldiers that have been killed during these battles all over the front. So I think that you can sometimes in your life and in a life of nation you can lose, but it's ridiculous to celebrate if you lose. And I think everyone needs to know that in Gaza Strip right now, Hamas is in the highest powers he had any time. I mean, he still has almost 40,000 soldiers, fighters, Hamas and Jihad Islamic fighters. He has thousands of his workers in the genocidal machine named Hamas, and munition, weaponry. I mean, all those things are in his hands, and he is the ruler in Gaza. This is not the way we wanted to end this war. So again, I'm very, very, very excited for everyone that for every hostages that released today and come back to his home. It's unbelievable, of course, and it's very, very excited, and a big hug for each one of them. But it shouldn't hide the facts, because if we will not look very, very clearly on the reality, we will get it back very soon. I mean, this enemy has the same charter, the same targets, and he prepared from day one. I mean, he never actually stopped to prepare to the next October 7th. So I think that we need proportion, and the fact that we have all this, all the media that is under the great excitement, which I'm part of it, for the individuals that come home. We are not really giving our thoughts to the meaning of this agreement. I want to tell you one more thing, Ishai. It's the first time after many years that we are actually internationalize the conflict. I mean, more than 30 years, the Prime Minister insisted not, only bilateral negotiation, two sides, and never, he never agreed to bring others into what we call in Hebrew many years, לא לבנאם את הסכסוך, not to internationalize the conflict. And now we have in this agreement international force that will take over Gaza. Even if Hamas will not continue with this agreement, he will take over all the lands that are under Israeli control right now. And more than that, this international force includes Egypt, Turkey, and Qatar. Who is Turkey today? One of the worst enemies of the state of Israel and of the Jewish people. I mean, who is Erdogan today? One of the radical Islamic leaders in the Middle East and in the world in general. He wants to renew his Islamic empire. He himself sponsored Hamas in different ways and Hezbollah over the last year. So who we're talking about? I mean, so that's one thing, and the other thing is that Hamas is still in power with a lot of power. So the President Trump, our respectable president of the United States, he can say that the war is over. But the question is not what this man or another man say. The question is what the reality says, and the reality is totally different. And I must say the things because if we don't understand it, we will not prepare well for the next time. And we need a real victory, not what happens today.
Knesset member Amit Halevi from the Likud. Are you like the kid who says the emperor is naked? Everybody is dressed up. I saw various ministers from your party and other parties. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's dressed up. It's a fun day at the Knesset. There you are, not at the Knesset. You seem that you are being the party pooper. You're saying it's the emperor has no clothes. This thing isn't real. Hamas is in control of Gaza. Now they're going to get more of their terrorists. Qatar, Turkey, Egypt is going to be internationalizing our Gaza Strip. And you're like a party pooper right now. How does that feel to be in that kind of position? And let me just add one more point. Do you think that there's a brainwashing going on that somehow you're not a part of right now? Or you're trying to at least pop that balloon?
Yes. Well, I think this balloon cost us a lot of blood of our children, of our soldiers. So I suggest to all my friends that, as you said, with smiles and ties right now, to look to understand what is the meaning of this agreement. And again, I'm not talking to you, day after the war started. We are 2 years after the war began. We are with, as I said, almost 2,400 people that were killed and raped and beheaded during this war since October 7th, the worst massacre in our history in the history of our state. So I don't think that's a time for celebration, and so I don't care to be the party pooper, whatever you define it. What's important for me are the soldiers, not only the soldiers that were killed during the war, but also the future. I mean, what is the future with this agreement? What is the future with this part?
Do you think that there can be a return to war in stage 2 if indeed Hamas does not disarm like they're supposed to? And that's what Channel 14 is talking about all the time now. They're like, there's a disconnect between Trump's vision of this is the end of the war and the reality that Hamas is actually digging in, arming itself, and getting ready for this is just a hudna. And this whole Trump thing is as a kind of at least it's a question mark. At least it's a question mark, if not a veil, for just the next war.
Well, I don't think there is a question mark about the fact that Hamas will not disarm himself. If you would ask any kid in Gaza Strip, he said it's a ridiculous question. No doubt about it. Hamas is not going to disarm. There's no question about it. That's one thing, period. And the other thing, it's what we are going to do with this fact. And the answer to this, unfortunately, will be not much, because there are too many interests and too many international bodies in this agreement that will not allow to Israel to be the party pooper, as you said. Maybe Amit Halevi can be, but the state of Israel and the government of Israel, I think, will have a lot of difficulties to do it. The gun that didn't shot in the first time, it's very hard to do it in the third time. And unfortunately, I'm not Am Israel Chai. We will get over. Sooner or later, we will come back to Gaza. We will control Gaza, and we will have a total victory. I have no doubt about it. But for the time being, I think it will be very, very hard, very, very hard to do things like we should do in the circumstances that this agreement actually creates. So that's why I'm very, very. I have a serious fear from the future, and I think it's not time for party. I see my friends in the Knesset. I think it's a horrible day. By the way, also I'm as I said, I have full excitement about every hostages that is coming home. No doubt about it. Every one of us, the heart is fulfilled with excitement and love, and to each one of them. But you must understand, even the hostages, even the releasing of the hostages is part of what? Is part of what? From Hamas view, it's part of their victory. They kidnapped 250 hostages. Now they are giving them to the state of Israel, and they get for that Israel, the IDF go back, retreat from the lands of Gaza, and all the other things. I mean, it's part of their. That's what they wanted from the first place. So they succeeded to take the hostages, and the lesson will be learned not only in the Middle East. By the way, the fact that this radical Islamic group actually did what she did, and she's still on its legs. I mean, after 2 years, $300 billion, as I said, much more important, of course, from the money, 24 hundreds of people that were killed and were murdered and killed during the war, and they are alive. We didn't take control on Gaza. We didn't do what every nation do in a war. So that's conclusion. It's this is the first of all. I mean, the fact that we do not have this day a victory, and the hostages are coming on part of what they are considered and defined as their victory.
Please, I'm freezing.
This is the bad thing here, and I hope that the next generation, the people that hear us, our children, because if we don't finish it in our generation, the next generation.
That's right. That we are definitely leaving it for the next generation. I mean, what you're saying is, and I don't think anybody in Israel argues that. It's just a question of how much are you looking at it. That's the only question. The only question is how much, because everybody knows. Ask any normal person, they'll say to you, "Look, the next war is 10 years off now. We just pushed it off. We kicked the can down the road." But let's remember, Amit Halevi, let's remember that that's part of like the Israeli thinking, which is every 10 years we have a war. We have to, what do you call it? We have to mow the lawn. And Prime Minister Netanyahu says, listen, I mowed the lawn. I bopped them on the head, and I got them. I hit them all over the head. They're a little bit reduced. I never wanted to control Gaza, so I did what I'm supposed to do. And yeah, like I kicked it down the road. That's the ghetto is safer for the next 10 years, right? And that's good enough for me, says Prime Minister Netanyahu in that sense. Other people would say, no, be a little bit more optimistic. Knesset member Amit Halevi, be a little bit more optimistic. There's going to be a second stage when it's obvious that Hamas is not fulfilling its part of the deal. They're going to be struck. The war is basically taking a hudna for both sides. Both sides are taking a hudna right now. We're also taking a hudna. You can't buy into that. You don't buy the idea that our forces are taking a break, getting back our hostages, and we're going to strike back in the next round.
First of all, your first statement that Israel just postponed it for 10 years, I think it's a horrible thought. I mean, if our nation, by the way, I think you're right. That's exactly what's been done. Just I'm saying this is a horrible and shamed definition of our national status, because if after this massacre, this is the outcome, our nation that it took for us 1 day to take over Gaza in the 6-day war. And if in our times, that's the conclusion, what you have said, we can only postpone it. And after this type of massacre, that those neo-Nazi groups are still 1 minute from Sderot and 2 minutes from Ashkelon, I think that says something, and we need a big cheshbon nefesh, to do a very, very serious tikkun, very serious change. And it says a lot what you have said. And regarding the Hudna, again, the agreement doesn't reflect that's the way that you presented it, because the dynamic of the war, the political life has its own dynamic and dynamic way, and we have experience of 2 years, and this type of agreements actually reflects the willing of many people to go back to to the regular life. And as you said in the beginning, I think it's not about 2 months we will see that Hamas is not disarming and we will get back. That's not the situation. And I think in this agreement there are many interests, like as you mentioned, Turkey and Qatar, and most of all Donald J. Trump, that he's coming to the Knesset now to make his speech, but this is about the Israeli speech, but the real business is in Egypt,
Right.
in 2 hours, and
Right.
I suggest you to cover it, because the business is became also in this agreement part very, very has very important central part in this agreement. And the business is business. As you know, Israel was not invited to Egypt.
Although
It's
there is reports right now coming in that in this period that Trump and Netanyahu are talking, it looks like there's information now that Netanyahu will be going. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what's being reported, that he's going to be going to Sharm el-Sheikh. But in any case, okay, whatever he goes or doesn't go, it's clear that what you have said at least makes a lot of sense to me, which is that we have now internationalized Gaza instead of holding on to it. We've allowed the terrorists to continue to hold on. That's the more realpolitik way of looking at it. Some people right here, you have to have trust in God. And I think God says to us back, don't do silly things. Do things that make sense. Hold on. Listen to God. If you want to listen to God, hold on to your land. Kick out the jihadis. That's part of what the Bible says to do. And that's what makes sense in the Middle East as well. Knesset member Amit Halevi, we're going to cut just in a few minutes to the Knesset itself. You are a Knesset member. You have a seat at the Knesset, but I see that you're at home today on this holiday of Hoshana Rabbah, and that's because you are protesting. You are protesting, and you are saying it is not a day of celebration. Let's look at this thing honestly. Let's look at this deal honestly. It is a deal that has allowed our enemies to continue to have a foothold. It has not just the Hamas enemy, but now the Qatari, the Turkish, and other enemies are more empowered. And there is a veil here that has to be lifted, and we're just kicking the can down the road. Not even a long road. It's a short road. It might be just a few years down the line, and it's right here. And Hamas is clearly saying that they are not going to accept the deal. On the other hand, there's people who say, listen, let's wait for the second stage. Let's see what happens. And the second stage, Israel may strike again. They'll see that indeed Hamas has not accepted the peace. And so people say, you're being a little too dark, Amit Halevi. But what's your answer back to them?
Again, the answer is not. It's not my answer. It's a reality answer. Hamas has not changed. Not its charter. Its horrible, distorted belief. And I think everything is on the table, and I think this agreement only make the issues much more difficult for the state of Israel in order to complete what we defined all over the war, total victory. This is not the way that total victory looks like.
Right. That's for sure.
And I think
we were promised total victory. We were promised to get rid of Hamas. That has not happened yet.
Ishai, this is illusion to think that Hamas will disarm. It's nonsense. It will not happen. And what we did in this agreement is just to create many new obstacles in order to achieve this goal. And I think it goes to a total different direction. General peace business. But the Middle East and the life are not only about business and money. And I think this is the most important conclusion from October 7, because one of our big sin was that we thought that Hamas will not risk his money, his interest, his social and his power. Nonsense. Hamas ideology is that the economy should serve the ideology. Exactly the opposite. And this mistake is coming again with this, I heard President Trump said, we will make a peace with Syria. Who is Syria? Who is Turkey? Come on, Ishai. With whom we are, what we're talking about? I mean, and I think that,
so I just want you to see these comments. So David Adam Michael Chen writes, Knesset member Amit Halevi saying the truth. I agree and thank him for his honesty. And then look at this. DJ Goralski writes, cannot believe what I'm hearing. Hamas is done. And Trump US will be taking over Gaza until security in place. Never forget these words, says G. See, very different perspectives here.
Okay, well, Hamas is not done. Hamas has more power than he had on October 6th. These are the facts. And I don't think there will be one American soldiers that will be boots on the ground that will make the work. And it's illusion to say that, to think that, somebody else will save our security, will guarantee our safety, our security. It didn't work in our history, never. It will not work now. And again, we can cover what this agreement is doing, is making a cover. We had a lot of this in October 6th, UNRWA, many covers to the empower, to the growing of Hamas neo-Nazi monster. And unfortunately, we repeat the same mistake. I have no... that's what I see as a Knesset member in the Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee. I think this is the reality. And again, you can win and you can lose. Sometimes you lose, Ishai.
Right.
But you should not celebrate if you lose. And the most important reason for this, because not only it's hard because of the so many soldiers and people that were killed, it's also very, very dangerous, because if you celebrate your failure as a victory, you do not prepare yourself to the next challenge, to the next war. And
that's a very important point. It's a very important point. So what you're saying is, this is not just a protest. You're not just trying to be a party pooper. You're saying, listen, if we celebrate this, we may take our eyes off the ball and not understand the threat that is in front of us. And I agree with that very much. I very much agree with this, and I really like that what you're saying. It's not just like about like Amit Halevi, look at me, I'm against it, and you guys suck. We have to keep our eyes on the real situation and not take our eyes off of it. And I wanted to say this earlier, and I forgot, it came back to me finally, which is, listen to Hamas and Hamas people, what they're saying. They're saying this is a hudna. They're saying this is a great success. Just like you said earlier, they said, look, we have been able to push the big Zionist army around for 2 years. They couldn't defeat us. We held their people. They couldn't defeat us.
Unfortunately, and I'm ashamed to say it, but unfortunately, they are right. They are right, because although we have heroes in our army, because of the general plans, the operational plans that the chief of the IDF, the former one and the current one, actually prepared, none of these programs, none of these military plans were capitalizing Gaza, taking over Gaza, like in every military academic, taking over, controlling. Nothing was in this direction. That's why even when we hurt Hamas very hard, they rebuild their forces, because they control the resources, they control the population, and you can't defeat guerrilla fighters in this urbanic area with this population if you do not control the sources, the roots of their power.
And there's one more issue which you haven't mentioned, which I think is one of the most central issues of them all, and that is the question of refugees. 2 years there have been no ability to really allow refugees to stream out of Gaza and to empty Gaza from non-combatants so that the war could be really fought, or people who want a different life somewhere else, so we could reboot and restart Gaza. I hope that at least one of the good things that could come out of this agreement is some kind of flow out of Gaza for these people. Some of them are innocent bystanders. Some of them are hateful jihadis. I don't care. I want them out.
Shai, I don't want to disappoint you, but it's important for me that you and your viewers will not live in illusions. Besides, few groups that Hamas also, radical religious groups love to be homogen group. They don't love
homogeneous.
They don't love to be heterogeneous. They love homogeneous. That's why maybe 10,000, 20,000 people that are from Hamas perspective only make problems to them. They will release them, go away. But the majority of the population will be under Hamas. They belong to Hamas. They went through this indoctrination for 18 years. They support Hamas. They are Hamas. There are in Gaza more than 100,000 people that are working in Hamas, that over these 2 years, monthly basis, got a salary from Hamas, got the salary 150 to 200 million shekel a month, even through the war. So that's the what we have in Gaza. Unfortunately, it's not has been changed, and this is their time to stay. One of the benefits that they get from this agreement is hundreds of billions that will flow to Hamas pockets. Nobody should be naive. Every dollar will, they will, like they did all over the years. 20 cents will be for the needs, and 80 cents will be for their needs. I mean, for the military equipment, for the tunnels, for the terror tunnels, and other things. So, and of course, the ammunition and the salary for Hamas organization and Hamas fight. They have a small state. Everything in the state, everything in this Hamas state, in this Gaza state, was served actually the jihad. So the same thing will be now with billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. What people think will happen? What happened to us? What is this celebration that we see now? What this celebration is all about? What we are celebrating now? What? The fact that after 2 years Hamas was not capitalized? What are we celebrating now? The fact that they agreed to give us 248 20 hostages? For what? For what? It's a humiliate agreement. And
Fleischer here at the Rayburn.
It's just, we have on our back, Ishai, hundreds of years of exile. We are still not behaving like a free nation. But let's hope to better days. And I'm sure there will be, by the way. I have no doubt that we will have better days, and we will have a total victory. We have a great heroes, our soldiers. The problem is not in the soldiers. The problem
and you will admit, Knesset member Amit Halevi, who is protesting today's Trump speech at the Knesset, you do admit, I ask, that Israel is stronger today. The military is more ready. The military is a fighting force. Our nation is more observant today, has returned more to the Bible and to Jewish practices. There's more of an interest in Yiddishkeit and Judaism. There are ways in which Israel has become stronger through this war. Maybe some of the eyes have opened. Maybe some of them have closed with what we're seeing today. But do you see that these 2 years have yielded anything kind of positive in the Israeli psyche and the Israeli readiness and the Israeli observance, in something that we could point to and say, yes, Israel is stronger today after the October 7th massacre?
I'll tell you what. First of all, I just want to redefine. I'm not protesting. I just cannot participate in a celebration in this circumstance. It's not a protest. I mean, it's impossible to participate. I think in this type of celebration and all the red carpets, and that's one thing. I'll tell you what. We learned from the history that events do not change the history. I mean, they are not changing the human being. They are making a big excitement. Maybe they are making a short-term influence. Yes, you know that we got the Torah in the Sinai mountain. It was more than excitement. Yes, it was everybody became prophets and all the people of Israel, and then 40 days later we danced around the golden calf, and I mean, a big event like October 7 can make excitement, can make short-term changes, but if we do not change the concept, if we do not change our worldview, and that's not that will not be because of events. That will be only after learning. If we learn, if we do learn new philosophy, new way of thinking. The problem of the IDF was not, operational problem in the border, or so. It was concept, misconception, misunderstanding of who is the enemy, what is Islam all about, what is radical Islam all about, and what is war, and how we defeat him.
Right, who the bad guys are, but also our rights and the way that
exactly.
Knesset member Amit Halevi, I have traced the Israeli, our beloved country's mental issues to this. I've come to the conclusion that we Israelis have a hard time being big. We want to be small. We constantly want to be small. We don't want to lishlot be'am acher. We don't want to rule other people. Why not? All big countries, all strong countries rule other people. And I find that in our Israeli psyche, we oftentimes say we don't want to be too big. And Gaza, it's like, what else does God and history and providence have to do but to throw this thing back in our face for us to say, okay, we've got to take control of this thing? And we're not taking control. We're like, who can please take control of this thing? Trump, Qatar, Egypt, who can please take this, our land, and control it for us? That is a sickness that we have. I want to give a chance to other people. Knesset member Amit Halevi, you're not protesting, but you are staying at home because you could not stomach this thing that you see as a false and non-victory celebration of veil. And I very much want to thank you for your words. And there's a lot of people in the comments that see how true and how strong and how problematic this moment is. There are, of course, also other opinions, but I want to thank you so much for your strength and your calling out what you see as the emperor having no clothing on this day today.
Thank you, Ishai. Thank you, and keep doing what you're doing for Israel, and keep our interests, and especially our big thoughts and the large view. That's what's important now.
Am Yisrael Chai, and as we say today, Pit Katava, good kvittel, have a good note, have a good Gemar Chatima Tova. God bless you.
Amen. Bye bye.